Hey guys, Rogue Nation here with you. Just wanted to do a quick interview, quick little talking points thing here um, about psychology as it deals with auditing and some of my methods. I had a subscriber ask me a question about what I plan to do after an audit, okay, specifically about the health department one in Baker County. So, the first thing I like to do is alert the bosses, alert the people that are in charge of the people that are in the video that are quoting bad law or misinterpreting law or violating my rights. So I like to let those folks know, and I could do so either through email or phone calls. If I do emails, I like to attach links to the video so they could see the employee in question's actions, um, which is another reason I try to keep it as professional as possible. Um, if that doesn't work, then we go again to like the county attorneys, city attorneys, talk with them. Um, of course, I do revisits, um, and if need be, then we could talk about filing lawsuits um, for unlawful detainments or anything of that nature that arises from the situation. Um, or in the last case scenario, get arrested like we did at the Port of Tampa. Um, as you saw there, the first time I went there, I realized these guys are definitely not going to learn. We called the port, we emailed the port, we tried to get all the information that they had, their regulations, copies of their policies that said that there were no recording allowed at the port, and that kind of stuff. Um, the reason I do the things I do is because the law specifically is there to protect us in these instances. And even though the people that I do audits on, or that I come into contact during my audits, like the lady at the health department along with the sheriff there for Baker County, even if they don't um, realize what the law is, um, there's usually somebody in their agency that does, um, either through memos sent around the state about us, or watching videos themselves, or just actually knowing the law and what's legal and what's not legal. Um, but again, as a last ditch effort, we can go in and get arrested and challenge it through the court system that way. Um, and that's what you saw at the port, and that's why they had to dismiss the charges, because they had not a leg to stand on, you know. And it's sad that we have to do that kind of activity in order to get them to realize the error of their ways. But when you're dealing with government, we got to realize that, you know, they're never wrong. The government ego is such that whatever they say goes, because they're so used to dealing with people that pretty much just obey whatever they say without questioning it, without, I can't tell you how many times people have been told, probably in that port, that they couldn't video record. How many of them went home and looked up the port's rules? How many of them, record requested the Carnival Cruise Line contract with the port? You know, people don't take those kinds of steps. Thinking is very hard for people. They much rather go with the common accepted line, story, or, facts, or whatever it is they think they know, rather than spend time thinking and researching and drawing logical conclusions from what's available for the public to disseminate and to gather. Um, when I'm in an audit, there's a point where I realize that nothing I say is going to persuade these folks, okay? Um, Besides what's known as the backfire effect, um, there is also the ego, which again doesn't allow many of us to say that we're wrong. That includes me sometimes. Um, Something that I'm always working on and trying to work on, and I know it grips people, and they can't let it go. Um, especially if they're trying to save face, especially if they're trying not to look like an idiot, on camera, and not realizing that the further they push it, the more idiotic they look, instead of just saying, hey, hold up a minute, I'm not really clear on this topic, or, what's going on right now. So let me just take a step back, reevaluate what's going on, and take what you're saying, and talk with my supervisors, or even just use common sense. A lot of us will explain it to them in a way that's perfectly legitimate and easy to understand, as far as public photography goes. um, Again, when you're dealing with hurt feelings, like people in the offices for the health department or something like that, a lot of times that shuts the cops off to intelligent discourse. All they know is that they have a state employee here who works for the same folks they do, um, perhaps, or in a roundabout way, government, and they've got hurt feelings over what I'm doing, and a lot of times that won't allow them to discuss the issue. Now, at the health department specifically, we had an incident you saw where the gentleman, who was a lieutenant actually, I know a lot of people thought he was a sergeant, but the guy that was doing the most talking in that health department video was a lieutenant. Okay, so he's commanding a good majority of the people in the sheriff's department under him. And he stated that I could stand outside the window and record through the window into the office and the computer screen. That was perfectly okay. But if I was to walk into the lobby doors just a few feet closer and film through the window on the computer screen, that wouldn't be okay. Now, you could see right off the bat that doesn't make any sense. And I said as much in the video at that time. I said that doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't make any sense. And when you're dealing with the person that can't understand basic logic and reasoning, um, then anything you say to them regarding the situation, you could bust out graphs and charts and case law, and you could even have like a mobile judge, like a van that drives a judge around with you all day and opens up the sliding glass door, and there he is with the gavel and the judge's bench, and and the cop still is not going to believe that, because that's just the way the human mind works. So at that point, you got to understand nothing more is going to get done here at this location today, and move on. um, there's a lot of tyranny out there, and if you're going to do this and you're going to get caught up explaining yourself over and over and trying to push the issue, when at that exact moment that issue is not going to go your way, regardless of what you say, regardless of what you do, it's not going to go your way, um, then it's going to be it's a hard road for you. I'm looking to get out there and expose as many tyrants as I can, um, and get the process of educating them underway. I'm not out there to expose one tyrant for 4 hours, I'm not there to stand there and argue with them and try to get my point across when I realize it's never going to get across to this guy. You don't sit there and talk to a fence post for 4 hours, do you? It's pretty much the same thing. All right, so that's the reason why I do some of the stuff I do. I know it's a little bit different. I could yell and curse and stuff and maybe they'd even allow me to stay in the lobby at that moment. But that still doesn't create the change that I want to see uh, in my work. So, you guys, most of you folks have watched me for a while now. You know what I do, you know how I do it. Um, I get great results. All my revisits are usually, decently respectful of the rights that I brought to the attention in the first audit. Sometimes I have to go back 2 times, 3 times sometimes. That's fine with me. Um, I enjoy it. You know, I get to become like part of the family wherever I go. And, uh, and as they get to know me, I expect cookies, peanut butter cookies to be exact. So, um, I have no problem going back and visiting with these fine folks, and you know, um, I'm more than happy to stay there with them on my revisits. But during my days, normally, I go out early and I try to hit as many places as possible because I don't want to drive 2 hours and hit one place and get stuck trying to explain law to a fence post for 4 hours. That really does nothing for the education part of the process because I know there's more than one tyrant in, let's say, Hillsborough or Tampa, you know? But if I'm stuck here with this guy for 4 hours trying to explain something I know he's not going to get, I'm losing valuable tyrant finding time. So what I'll do is I'll just chalk that up as a revisit, and I'll go back in a month or two and I'll see what they've learned from there. I'd say on my revisits I got probably about a 90% uh, rate of satisfaction when I go back to see them. Um, couple in my third revisit on a couple of them, I'm close to like 95% success rate on my revisits. So, I mean, the results are there. I have a huge back catalog. All you got to do is look through them. I try to title my revisits as revisits, and you can see how they treat me on those revisits compared to how they treat me during the first ones. Um, so I got a method I believe works. I believe a lot of my subscribers believe that it works. And when it doesn't work, I'm more than willing to put in the time on lawsuits and unlawful arrests. So, which I've shown you guys I've done over the last year. So, we're going to keep using my method. I'm going to keep doing what I've always done since day one. And we're just going to keep finding them, keep exposing them, keep educating them, you know, and do it in the most respectful way I can. I don't hate anybody out there. I do, however, dislike people that are in a position of power that abuse their power, and I think most Americans would agree with that. Most Americans aren't really thinking about abuses of power because their lives are so busy working and coronavirus now and kids and all other kinds of stuff. But that's okay because there are people like me, Wrights Crispy, News Now California, Wolfie Gladly, Joe Cool, Jeff is Here Audits, Big Nick, San Joaquin, Transparency. There's a lot of people out there that do care about our rights and do care about education and change and making sure that we get the fair shake that we pay for. Because without us, government doesn't exist. Not only money wise, but people wise. It's a United States citizen sitting in all those positions of power. So it really is us governing ourselves. Um, of course, it takes a lot of money to buy those seats of power. We won't get into that, but technically, on paper, it's a, an employee-founded and ran operation. So, there's laws that we all have to go by, and that's all I'm trying to do is get everybody to follow the law. And some people call it baiting. Some people say I'm antagonizing or harassing people, but we know that to be untrue. We also know that on my American Freedom channel, I post videos of passes where I do exactly the same thing I do, and the videos were on my Rogue Nation channel. The only difference is the reaction that I get from the people, because I go in there and I say the same things, and sometimes I don't say anything at all, and so it it all depends on the reaction of the people that I come in contact with, and the passes are the way it should be. You shouldn't bother me. You should mind your own business. Um, but people just can't seem to do that, so we get what we got. But I'm gonna cut this video out, guys. It's already too long. Just wanted to, again, to give you some talking points that I've been thinking about, answer my subscribers' question about some of my methods on what I do, and how I get to hold them accountable, and to let you guys know also, I will be starting a series on the American Freedom channel during the coronavirus thing. We're going to be going over some legal topics. So if that kind of stuff interests you guys, make sure to sign up for American Freedom. Hit the bell. Make sure you get all the notifications on that, because that should be starting up in the next week here. All right. I also got a couple other videos coming up for you guys. I'm going to try to do the best I can. We don't have internet out here. I'm using my phone as a hotspot. It's not really working. So I went out and bought a laptop the other day to edit all my videos, because I couldn't bring the desktop. And so I'm going to just try to get what I can out to you guys. So be on the lookout. All right. Thanks again, guys. And see you on the flip side. Everybody stay safe out there.